Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Coffee to You and Me. This is Coach Powell. We are going to have a great time today as we talk about and continue discussing the series that we're in right now, which is all about amazing levels of execution, getting there, staying there, being on top of your game, making sure that you've gotten everything done that you need to get done so that you can crush it at a high level. You, your team, your organization, your community, everybody needs to execute at high levels. This is my favorite topic because as a coach, that's my job. My job is to help people understand how to move themselves, move their teams, move their communities, move people forward, ever forward. Um, it's funny because right now our buddies and I are planning, getting started on planning our 40th high school reunion. It's gonna be crazy, y'all. I gotta say, I'm super impressed with the response we got. Just put the word out today, and I'm starting to get people pouring in saying, "Yeah, I want to be involved in the planning committee. I want to get excited. I want to get it done." Oh man, it's just such a good feeling to know that I'm part of a community um, that's been doing amazing work and a group of amazing people. And if you know anybody from the Oxon Hill class of high school 1984, tell them, check our Facebook page so they can find out what we're up to, what we're doing, how to participate, how to engage, how to make sure that they reconnect with old friends and network at just a high level. We're going to create some amazing memories. We're going to develop a great series of programs and activities that might be ongoing. There's going to be so much happening with this because at this point in all of our lives and our careers, you know, um, I think we're all approaching our 58th birthday or somewhere close to that. Those of us who are there, those of us who are about to be there, that's what's going to be happening real soon. We're pushing 60, and so it's a great opportunity for us to get together and celebrate and love on each other and have a great time. Maybe do something good for the community. Who knows what it'll end up being? Whatever we do is going to be a ton of fun, and it's going to be so super special. You guys are going to join us. I'll continue to give you some updates about what we're planning as we get forward. But we've already set that first planning committee meeting, and it's going to be a super opportunity. Today's event, Coffee to You and Me with Coach Powell. For those of you who've been following me over the years, you know that every Friday, around about the 3 o'clock hour, I share some opportunities and ideas and understandings of what I think small businesses need to be thinking about when it comes to moving themselves forward, creating opportunities for their businesses, for their teams, and adding to the economic advancement of our country. It's truly, truly important to know that a small business is the economic engine of all of what is the United States of America. 97% of businesses in America are small businesses. That's a huge number. Um, and we're not even talking about the micro businesses, the gig economy, the stay-at-home workers, those that are just doing it and just trying to make things happen for themselves and for their families. And they need help, they need support, they need consultation and opportunities. And I try to drive opportunities to this community because I recognize that without the small businesses that care so much and do so much, so many people would not be employed. So many people would not have a sense of purpose or direction, or they won't have opportunities to contribute to our society in a way that's meaningful for them and for their families. And so I applaud and celebrate all of you who run a small business. I myself run a small business. I consider myself a veteran of business because, man, it has taken a lot of commitment and a lot of drive and effort to continue to push forward with our business. In fact, there's a conference coming up I want to let you guys know about on the evening, or actually the morning of July 29th. A special Leverage Up conference is being done. Every quarter, we try to do a special virtual business conference that helps entrepreneurs and business leaders begin to think outside the box, begin to really, really open up new ideas that help them get past whatever barriers that they're seeing that they're facing right now. And at the Leverage Up conference, it's all about that. It's all about creating leverage that helps you develop standards and processes and programs that elevate you beyond the political problems that you may find, the economic problems that you may find, the social problems that you may see, the technological issues that might be plaguing you, the legal barriers that might, you might find yourself involved or entangled in, and then finally the ecosystem. How do you get involved with the ecosystem in a way that's going to be sustainable and useful? These are all the things we talk about in various different ways. And we're talking about cryptocurrency. We're talking about, how do you take advantage of construction and real estate and all the different types of investment strategies you might use, all the different types of alternative business opportunities that you might just be sitting there at the edge of whatever's next in your world and in your economy. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur. With the invention of AI, ChatGPT, there's so much more productivity that we're going to be able to generate, so much more content we're going to be able to deliver, so much more we're going to be able to contribute. If you get a chance, you got to attend this conference. I put the links right there on the site, and I'll definitely share them later on LinkedIn. And that's it. We're gonna go take a real quick break. Well, before we take the break, let's do some homework. Those of you who've been following me, those who've been watching, those who've been paying attention to the program, you know how important it is. You know how important it is to share this content. Don't keep it a secret. Make sure that you make it available to every business leader that you know. You never know who might be inspired, who might be driven to another level of excellence, another level of opportunity for themselves and their businesses. And it's so super important that you share, super important that you click on all of that good stuff that you need to click on. Make sure you follow us. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you do everything you can to engage with us fully. In fact, when it comes to engagement, I'm a big engagement guy, so if you have a business that you want to promote, feel free to do so. Put it in the chat. Put your nonprofit organization in the chat. Put your favorite restaurant, anything you want to put in the chat. Just make sure we support as many small businesses as we possibly can. And help them move forward, help them create some more energy and some more guidance behind whatever they need to do. I'm definitely friendly that way. I couldn't do any of this without the sponsors that have entrusted me and partnered with me to make sure that not only do I represent my brand well, but I represent their brand well. And I'm super excited that, my good friend Adolphus Towns is one of our good sponsors. We have a sponsor who was one of my favorite bankers, and it's such a great opportunity to have them support us, as well as my good buddy Darren from Shoemate Engineering. These are all wonderfully talented individuals that give of their time, effort, and energy. They're all a part of the Leverage Up conference, and pretty much everything I do, from the roundtable situation, the Coach Powell training development process, all of my programs, all of my workshops, I bring my sponsors and my friends along with me because they are the wind beneath my wings. I suggest that if you don't have an advisory council, if you don't have a group of sponsors, partners, friends that support you, start to think about how to get one. And if you want to know how to do that, reach out to me. I try to put my information out there. So, I'm pretty good at helping, create the support that you're going to need to move your business forward beyond the here and the now. And it's so important that you think about in the future, where do you want your business to go? Where do you want it to be? How you see it moving forward? If you don't have a plan, a clue in place, you don't have a structure about how you're going to grow your business, how you're going to migrate it, how you're going to move it forward, how you're going to get out of business when it's time. And there's a time. There's a time coming for all of us when we can't do it. We can't put the energy out there. Let's make sure that we're paying attention to these things, getting the right help that we need to have, planning for the future so that the future doesn't catch us off guard and we don't lose, very valuable assets as well as the legacy that we can provide and create for generations to come in our families and our communities. Okay, having said all that good stuff, I'm going to take a quick little break. And then when we come back from the break, we're going to get this party started in legit fashion. Check this out. Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Coffee Tea, you and me with Coach Power. Every Friday at the 3 o'clock hour, I support entrepreneurs, business leaders, sales professionals, anybody who needs to dig a little deeper, go a little harder, push themselves to a level of expectation and excellence that drives everything. This is my job. This is my life. This is my passion. This is what I advocate for. This is what I make sure that I do all that I can to support the business leaders. I've been working on a series right now that I want. That's a super exciting series, and it's called the Coach Powell Series on Execution. We've been trying to figure out, help each other learn about how we excellently execute all of our plans, no matter what our plans are. The first half of the year, we talked about planning, how important planning was, and all the different iterations and attributes that you need to put together a brilliant plan. Now we're talking about strategy. And listen, now you're talking about execution. Listen, if you can, you're going to want to get the whole entire written proposal document, what have you, on execution. I have included so many magical ideas and concepts that can help you, including execution, the flawless techniques of the masterful. Where I break down, literally what we've always thought and what human beings have always said from the Bible on about ways to execute efficiently. It talks about effectiveness, efficiency, and productivity, which we talked about last week. It gets into performance and how you use performance to create amazing results for yourself. It talks about the 4 secret sauce opportunity that go into creating professional relationships that win. You want to create winning relationships, right? You want to understand how relationships work, how association works, how all those things are important to create meaningful opportunities for one another and meaningful associations. We get into what it takes to understand and manufacture the likability procedures, right? How do you make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to be likable? We're going to get into all that over the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk more about how you pull it all together. We're going to talk about strategy and how do you move from strategy to tactic to technique to skill, and what all those things do when you put together I call that series Think, Plan, Go For It, right? That's all a part of the execution series. And the last little piece here, you're going to find there's tons of stories, and you're going to find that I have here a little bit of a template that can help you really start to think through your execution strategy. I use this with my clients. I've used it with thousands of clients over the years. It's been an amazing profile, an opportunity for them to begin to gather their thoughts and put the right pieces in place for them to execute at a high level. Today, we're getting into performance. How do you put together a high performance team? What are the rules associated with high performance teams? How do you use those rules in a way that's going to create tremendous success for you and your teams? And I'm just going to read a lot of this to you. Again, if you want the whole entire series and you want the written document, the written white paper on execution, then hit me up. Text me, email me, instant message me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, and I will respond. I will give you that copy. But I'm not going to give you that copy for free, because what's going to cost you is this. You're going to need to give me feedback on this segment that you may have heard this talk from. Just feedback on what you have experienced. And I don't want just, it was great, it was wonderful. I want real, meaningful feedback. If there's something that you can do, something that you learned, something that you understood, let me know what that is, something that sticks in your mind as something that you are going to move forward. Because again, execution is all about moving forward. If you tell me what you're going to be using and what tools I've given you to help you move forward, I'm going to get you the whole copy of the whole series. Now, I usually charge a lot of money for these products that I put together, but I'm not going to do that for those of you who give me the feedback. That's your fee. That's what I'm charging you. I'm charging you feedback. And so you get to tell me what you loved about the presentation, what you hated about the presentation. It doesn't matter to me. Instant message me again. Give me the feedback in any iteration you want to have. I'm looking for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences of discussion that helps me understand what you got out of the presentation. And this is for any one of the next 5 presentations that I'm going to be doing, because it's going to take me that long to get through the entire series, right? Okay, so this next concept or idea or discussion, I should say, I want to lead you guys through. It's all about performance. Really, what does performance do? How does it work? And what are the rules? Now, we've discussed this, right? There's at least 6 rules of execution that high performers always adhere to. Now, there's 2 sets of rules in the 6 rules. The first set of rules deals with performance, and the next set of rules deals with style. When you're executing any strategy, any plan, any technique, you have to have both performance and you have to have style. Now, in order to have those 2 things, you got to know what they're all about and what they mean, and then you have to understand all the rules. So let's get into it, right? Performance is simple, right? It's just meeting the expectations that are out there. It's simply doing the thing that you prepared to do and getting it done, right? It's nothing more jazzy or exciting than that. It's just getting the thing done that you said you were going to do, that you promised that you're going to do, that is expected of you, that you were hired to do, that you were promoted to do, whatever it is that the expectation is that you have, either from your stakeholders or from your friends and associates or whatever that is, you know, whatever, stepping up to perform and doing it and performing well. Not just performing well, but just performing, period, and getting it done. That's what performance is all about. Now, let's look at the other hand. There's style. Style is the sexy stuff. This is the stuff that makes your performance unique. This is the stuff that makes your performance stand out among others. This is a unique brand that you put on it. It's how you do what you do. It's not doing it, it's doing it with a sense of panache, a sense of flair, a sense of gravitas that is uniquely you, that no one else can duplicate, no one else can see, no one else can take responsibility for but you, right? Now, why are we talking about performance when it comes to execution? Because you cannot execute your plans, you cannot execute your strategy, your technique, your style, whatever, none of that, unless you're going to perform, unless you're going to do the thing that you are required to, expected to do. So I'm going to start you off with a quote. I love this quote. This is a quote by Ralph Marston. Marston says, "Don't lower your expectations to meet your performance. Raise your level of performance to meet your expectations. Expect the best of yourself and then do what is necessary to make it a reality." Again, don't lower your expectations to meet your performance, but raise your level of performance to meet your expectations. When you can expect the best of yourself and then do what is necessary to make it a reality, everything is great, everything is golden. That's how the game works. That's how the party works. And there's the first 4 rules. Let's just get to them real quick. Rule number 1, take responsibility for creating and maintaining your will to succeed. Rule number 2, when you dream big, you win even bigger. Rule number 3, plan your strategy until it feels like destiny. And then finally, rule number 4, if it's not urgent, do it now. So let's get into it. Let's get into rule number 1. What are we talking about when we say take responsibility for both creating and maintaining your will to succeed? This is about motivation, right? You have to take responsibility for your own motivation. You have to take responsibility for building it. You have to take responsibility for creating it. You have to take responsibility for maintaining it along the way. This is something that you simply cannot advocate for someone else. You cannot give someone the responsibility of keeping you motivated. You know, they may help you get motivated, but at some point you have to take on that responsibility for yourself. And you have to take on that responsibility and then you have to create within yourself the energy you need to continue to move forward in a huge way with whatever you're doing. This is your obligation to yourself. You got to take charge, man. This is about you managing your own wishes and your own desires, the effort that it takes to create them and to bring them forward has to be all you at some point. Now, I will say that initially you might be able to depend on your team. Initially, you might be able to depend on your leaders. Initially, you might be able to depend on the environment and how it all comes together to get you started, to get you going. But really quickly, you have to take the mantle. You have to take control of this thing. You have to really, really know your mind. Understand who and how you began. Where have you started from? Where are you coming from? What are the things that you are most capable of? And what might you even dare to attempt based on those capabilities? You have to have some ideas about this thing. If you have to force or cajole yourself, then do what you have to do. I don't care how you get there, but understand you hold all the keys to your motivation. I don't care where you are in your neuro development, right? You hold all the keys to your own motivation. If you have to get into prayer, meditation, if you have to understand, develop a mindfulness practice, yoga, stretching, breathing, drinking water, whatever you have to do to get yourself in the right and proper mindset to activate all of the energy necessary to keep yourself moving forward, then this is what you have to do. Super, super important. You know the answer to the following question. I don't. What can be done to ignite your passion and fuel your activity? What? Put some information in the chat. If there's something out there that you're thinking that you could do that will ignite your passion and fuel your activity in a healthy and well way, right? I'm not talking about no crazy stuff that is going to take you out there into a place where you're going to be breaking the law or doing something dangerous, right? But if you can do it safely and you can do it in a way that's healthy, why shouldn't you ignite your passions? Why shouldn't you fuel your activity? What can you do? If you don't already know the answer, then you'll at least know what the question to ask is. And you might want to, go ahead and use ChatGPT right now. Go out to the AI search engine and start to begin to look at that question. Maybe you'll come up with some ideas that it will definitely come up with some ideas, maybe some things that you haven't already thought of or tried or techniques, and then dig a little deeper. It's a beautiful way for you to begin to articulate, what could and might happen in order to, have put you in charge of your state of mind, put you in charge of your will to achieve and the pace of your achievement. Now, when you've gotten that part together, when you've gotten your motivation together, there has to be a reason for your motivation. And that's rule number 2, right? You've gotten it together. You already know what your will is. You already know what your desires are, and you're already juiced up and jazzed up and ready to get going. In fact, nothing stopping you, or you're already in it, right? Now it's super important to think about, how do you dream? How do you dream big? How do you dream big so that you can win even bigger? You can't just simply envision the simple things in your life, the simple, easy things that you can easily get in touch with. That's not enough to activate that nervous energy that you can pull from in order to keep you focused, to keep you sharp, and keep you moving forward, right? And so I like to visualize what my life would be like if I were to master all of my spiritual, emotional, physical, and cognitive gifts. If I could bring together everything that makes me me, right, and bring it to a high level of being, that I know that whatever my hopes, my future dreams might be, I could begin to think in a way that's a stretch for me, but not an impossibility for me. So think about that. What can you do? What could you possibly do if you were at your absolute best in every category of your life? What would your life look like? What would you be able to be, do, and have that you can't right now? Now, cognitively, I hate this word, but I gotta let it pronounce it better. Cognitively, it's going to be a stretch for you really to think outside of the box, for you really to dream big. But here is where you get to exercise that faith muscle. Because once you really start to begin to conceive the possibility of your vision, whatever the vision might be, short-term, long-term, maybe forever impossible, but it's got to be out. Got to be something that you can visualize, a way of being, of doing, of having that you can't right now, based on the gifts and talents, beliefs and values that you currently enjoy. And so if you have those things, then you need to have that as a motivating factor, again, that pushes you out there. If you set impossible goals and benchmarks, you're going to feel the sting of failure quite hard. And the longer you're on that road towards achieving what you think you want to achieve, the harder that fall is going to be when you realize that what you're trying to go for, what you're trying to do, it's impossible, right? I'm not saying set impossible goals or envision things that are not possible. And it's okay. I remember when I was young, my mother used to tell me, if anybody has ever done anything, then surely you can do it, right? Because I have the benefit of being able to see that they have done it, right? So I could take it even further, right? So if you want to be an astronaut, you want to walk on the moon, we did that already. Okay, maybe you want to walk, more further on the moon than anybody else ever walked on the moon before. That's quite possible. If you got the right age and you've got the right, time in front of you in order to prepare, it's quite possible. It's not impossible. So anything any other human being has done, you surely can elevate whatever that is, right? Now think about you, though. If you were to maximize all your gifts and talents and strategies, what could you do? What could you be? What could you have? And dream that one. Dream that big. And start to ask yourself the question, okay, now backwards plan this. How can I start to begin to take the right steps to move in this direction? How can I stay motivated and excited and energized to get on this? At the end of the day, this is the story of resilience, right? It's about the ability to bounce back, get back up, keep partying, keep going, keep moving forward into the game that really counts for your life. People that don't have big dreams tend to satisfy themselves with the status quo. I don't want you to do that. If you can figure out, how to take responsibility for your actions, and you can figure out how to dream big and win even bigger, then rule number 3 is real simple, right? All you have to do now is plan your strategy until it feels like destiny. I love this thought process. If you're not planning in a way that it feels like this is the purpose for my life, this is the purpose for my membership in this association, this is the purpose for my belonging to this team, this is the reason I'm doing this, and that reason is bigger than me, I got a problem with your planning, because your planning is going to be stopped at the level of just at that level where you're not really achieving at the highest levels. You're just like, it's just that I'm achieving, moving forward inch by inch, piece by piece, but you're not really pushing it. You're not really pushing it to the next level, just beyond your reach. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to go. You want to plan your strategy till it feels like you were born for this. If you're not feeling that call of destiny in your planning process, your plan's not good enough. If you're not planning, if it doesn't feel like this is my purpose, this is my desire, this is who I'm meant to be, who I was born to do, then your planning is not good enough. You gotta dig a little deeper, right? Every time that I put the proper time and the intensity in the planning phase before I begin to execute anything, all right, in the operational project, no matter what I'm doing, some magic starts to happen. I start to feel like I'm connected to the strategy. My gifts start to align. The world starts to come at me in a way that I start to see things that I couldn't see before I began that process. So get out your pen, your paper, start writing down your hopes and dreams, start figuring out strategies in which you can make them become a reality. Start asking questions of other people that are around you. Find experts that are great at certain things that you might not be so great at, and ask them for their perspective on your vision and what you're trying to do. You have to get your planning so well and so well honed. Start to invite other people in. Start to do things that you need to do to just not be alone in this thing. Because the more you are able to plan and cast vision and do the things you need to do, that's going to start to involve other people. People are going to want to get involved with it, and you're not going to want to leave them behind. You're going to want to have them with you as you move forward. And so it's super, super important that you don't ignore and you spend the time in the required time in the planning phase, and no more than the required time, by the way, because this, again, is about execution. It's not about planning, but how you plan and the energy you put into planning with testing and wise counsel is still super important. You got to get the right feedback from the people that are required to maybe jump on board and help you, and you need to make sure that you've secured and gathered all the resources that you need to gather to get started on your way to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Great accomplishments, huge accomplishments. Because when it starts to feel like this destiny for you, there's no way out. You got to go. You got to get started. You got to stay on that plan, by the way. But if it doesn't feel like a calling on your life, a pulling on your heart to accomplish things that you want to accomplish, then your planning is not good enough. You got to go back to the drawing board. You got to try it again. Bring some different energies to it. Whatever you have to have, but you need to have that feeling. You need to have that clarion call that only destiny can give you. You got to have that. That's rule number 3. Number 4. This is a super important opportunity here, and I think we in the organizational development world tend to get this mixed up, and we forget how important it is. And I love rule number 4 because it reminds me that if it's not urgent, then you need to do it now. What do I mean by that? Why is that important? So when you start thinking about your planning, your strategy, there's going to be things that are urgent. There are going to be things that are not urgent. There are going to be things that you want to put in, that you want to put kick down the can. You don't want to do them right now because it's some things that they may have to come in a sequence, and it makes sense that you should do it in a sequence, right? But I'm going to suggest to you that along the way, as you start to set goals and benchmarks, as you move towards your plan, you're going to find that there's some simple things that you can get done now and park them to the side. And then when you actually need them, you can go back and pick them up. And it'll already be done, right? It'll make your process that much smoother and give you the. Here's why. I'm suggesting you do the easy things that you can do right away, even if it's out of sequence. As long as it's not going to affect your ability to move forward and make adjustments along the way in your planning, do the easy stuff now. Do the stuff that's not urgent, that's the stuff that doesn't really matter, but it matters, but it's not going to affect your ability to move forward. Get all that stuff done, easy stuff done. Knock it out quick, right? Because this is about building your confidence and building your momentum. It's more than it is about execution and proper execution and proper timing of certain events and certain things you want to get done. It is more about getting the momentum going, getting your team going in the right direction, get them going on something that they can sink their teeth into as soon as you possibly can. Now, once this starts to happen, people are going to start to be reporting back in. Got that done, knocked that out, did this. This was wonderful. This was amazing. What's next? They're going to be ready to go, to get them geared up and excited. You're going to be geared up and excited about the possibilities of it all because you're going to start to see work getting done, right? That begets work. work begets work. The more you have that momentum going in the right direction, even on the small things, it makes the bigger things a lot easier than if you are okay, now it's time to work on this part of the process, and now it's time to work on this part of the process, and you got goals and benchmarks out there that you got to try to hit. I understand that you can't do everything out of sequence. I'm not trying to get you to do everything out of sequence, because there is a rhythm. There's a reason for the rhythm. There's a reason for the sequence, right? But do understand that if there's easy things that you can just knock out, it's important that you knock them out, that you don't procrastinate on anything that's easy, simple, and quick. Get it done right away. Get it done quickly. Because if you procrastinate, what happens is, you find that it becomes harder and harder to motivate the team. It becomes harder and harder to get them to see down the road the vision that you're trying to go to, the goals that you're trying to hit. It's not like immediate. It's not, you're getting immediate gratification. You're getting immediate satisfaction. There's no check marks you're able to check, because you're still in the grind. You're grinding. You're gonna meet people who are always talking about, I'm in the grind, I'm grinding. That's great. I'm not saying that you shouldn't grind, but how can you make it easy for yourself to grind? Right? If there's a sequence of activities or things you have to do to get you moving forward, then why not do the easy stuff right away? Even if it's not required right now, just knock it out. It's going to feel so good to start to get that train going. It's going to feel so good to get that movement going, right? And remember that as you're moving forward, you have to always continue to sharpen your sword. You always have to. I love this quote. This is a saying I got from my father. You need to feed your horse before you head off and slay the dragon, right? That means if you're going to go through the big journey, you got to put gas in the car. You got to do the simple things that allow you to keep going, right? And that means for you, us human beings, there's 5 things we got to always do. We got to breathe. We got to rest. We got to drink water. We have to move, work out, keep the body fresh. And then finally, we have to make sure that we are at peace in our spiritual lives. We have to make sure that we meditate. We have to make sure that we practice relaxing. Those things are super, super important to our ability to keep this party going. Right? Breathe, rest, drink water, work out. What's the last one? I want to make sure I don't forget that one. Oh, pray. Right. Stay in that good, positive spiritual mode, right? Super, super, super important. Now, those are the 4 rules. The 4 rules of performance, right? If you do these rules well, you're gonna do just fine. You're gonna make things are gonna happen. You're gonna make things happen. You're gonna get the expectations. All you gotta do is take responsibility for your own motivation. Make sure you dream big, and you'll win even bigger. Make sure you plan your strategy until it feels like destiny. And number 4 is do it now, even if it's not urgent. Do it now, right? That's all performance. The next set of rules that I'm going to give you, rule number 5 and 6, they have to do with style. Now, I love style, because style is when you get to make it your own. In fact, I say that style is the silent language of the soul. It is where your heart and mind come together in a way that's so unique and so special that it means that you're all the way in. You are super involved. It's an expression of who you are, not just what you do. It's how you do it. I don't know if many of you all saw that episode of Mrs. Maisel, when there's an old song that they brought up, and my wife and I got so excited when we saw it. And the song goes, "It ain't what you do, it's the way how you do it. It ain't what you do, it's the way how you do it. It's the way that you do it that matters. That's what gets results, right? Consistently over time. If you're doing it and you're doing it in your way, with your flair, with your attitude, with your, whatever panache, whatever you got going on, it's going to be special. Paul Klee says this: he has found his style when he cannot do otherwise. And Arthur Schopenhauer says, style is what gives you value and currency. It gives value and currency to your thoughts. Let me repeat that again so I'm clear. Style is what gives value and currency to thoughts. These two quotes are super, super important. If you get a chance to get the download, get the guidebook, definitely get it. Okay, here's rule number 5. Rule number 5 is practice until you own your own process. This is the beginning of real innovation. You cannot innovate until you have become exceptional at the thing that you're trying to be exceptional at. If you innovate before you become exceptional, it's a mistake. I'm sure you've seen people who play whatever game they play, and they seem to have a quirk or a tick that is uniquely them, right? Remember Michael Jordan used to hang his tongue out of his mouth when he's playing basketball. And, coaches have always tried to get him to stick his tongue back in his mouth. But it worked for Mike. He never changed it. Super important that, you find your innovative strategy, your innovative style. Now, I'm not saying that's a strategy or a technique, because it really isn't. It's just a tick, right? But once you start developing those negative habits, they're hard to get rid of, even as you reach into the professional levels of things. And so you might want to consider remembering the basics and doing the basics and excelling in the basics before you start to add your individual flair, before you start to see a different way to do things that's going to require you to, maybe do something dangerous. I think it's real dangerous to play basketball with your tongue hanging out your mouth, because how easy it is to clip your chin and then bite your tongue off. Right? It happens. People do that by mistake all the time. Now, if you're sitting around, that's all you're doing, your tongue is hanging out your mouth all the time, and pretty much it's a disaster that's waiting to happen. You're going to get that clipped at some point. And I'm sure Jordan has some stories of how he's been forced to bite his tongue, on many occasions. But when you develop bad habits or habits incorrectly, in your practice is not one that's going to help you really master the basics in whatever it is you do, then you're going to create negative habits. And eventually those negative habits are going to start to stack up on you. And they're going to make it very difficult for you to reach the highest levels of performance and innovation. So it's super important that you do that, right? I said earlier that high performers gain and maintain their positions by putting the work in place, and then by maintaining a blistering work pace compared to their contemporaries. You have to be willing to do it. You got to be willing to put the work in. You got to be willing to drive towards excellence. You got to be willing to stay a little longer in practice, stay a little longer in rehearsal, get up earlier and get started before everybody else does. Keep driving until you are masterful. When you are masterful, now you are amongst the elite of the elite. One of my favorite authors would say that, it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. 10,000 hours. It's a lot of work, a lot of time that you have to put into your rehearsal, your practice, your whatever it is you need to do. But the more you practice, it is true, the more proficient that you will become. And the more you do real-time training, meaning you get as close to the actual performance that you have to perform in your practice, the better your practice is going to be. If you are doing theater, right? They have tons and tons of rehearsals, but they have not just the dress rehearsal. Before the dress rehearsal, there's the read-through. And the read-through is where you really see how your voice and other people's voices come together and how you might want to deliver the lines and all that kind of stuff. Before you even get to act it out, before you even add the body language, you're developing this thing in stages, but you're fully committing to all of it. You're not doing it. You're not committing it. I'm not going to do this. Well, I'm actually in the read through, but I'm going to start to act it all out. You might not want to do that for a lot of different reasons. But the thing about that is, you might show that you're a standout and you're head and shoulders above the rest of your team. But do you want to be head and shoulders above the rest of your team when you need everybody to collaborate, communicate, and get along together? You don't want to think that through, but make sure that your practice is at a high level. Make sure that your rehearsal is a high level. Make sure you're always come prepared. Don't ever come to, your coaching session, your practice, whatever it is that you're doing unprepared. If you come unprepared, then you're not going to be able to give your best. If you're not going to be able to give your best, then the habit that you're building is not giving your best. And you don't want to build that habit. You build that negative habit, and that's going to stack up against you, because you're going to start to cut corners. You're going to start to mask things. You're going to start to fake it. You're going to start to try to do things that mitigate the exposure. And then there's blame, shame, and guilt that's going to come along with this. You don't want that. So you got to give it your all. Give it your 100%, the way it's prescribed, the way and handle the basics, and make sure you do that. And then after you get to that point, you're going to start to see ways and ways to elevate the game, ways to do things differently in a way that embraces the you-ness of you, right? The special gifts that you have, and the ways that you have to do it. And then it becomes you. It becomes who you are. It becomes what you do. All right. Rule number 5, practice your process. That's the real beginning of innovation. But rule number 6 is, remember that your character is measured by what you do, but even more about how you do it. That's what we started this all about. It's about character, right? Remember, your competence is here, but your character is here. And you need them both to be trustworthy. That's a Stephen Covey quote. You need them both, and you need them both at a high level to be worthy of trust, at high levels of trust. The higher levels of trust you need, the higher levels of character and competence that you must display, right? But when you think about your character is not just getting the thing done, it's how you get the thing done. You have to work and develop a methodology or approach that works for you in your situation, which of course is different from others. But even if you share similar characteristics, you cannot share every characteristic, because some of those are yours. And at the end of the day, you want people to be exposed to your special mental and moral qualities. You want people to understand your values. You want people to understand how those values are expressed. You need to be able to articulate and express those values in action, so that people can readily see this is what you are all about. This is who you are. When you peel back the onion, you still get the same thing. It's still this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change. The essence of the onion is the same no matter how many layers you peel back. And you want to be like an onion in that way. Not that you're stinky, but you want to have that same amount of flavor everywhere you go, right? So your character has to be inside and out. It has to be through and through. All you are from the beginning to the end. When people meet you and experience you, they need to know that this is the person that meet and experience, and they will always meet and experience the same person in any situation. You're going to be the same, right? Your character is the same, because that is what people can honor, people can testify to, people can promote, and people can help elevate you, because your character is and your moral qualities are so strong. You don't want any questions about your essential substance or the uniqueness that you have. You don't want those questions to go unanswered either. You want to be transparent about that. Well, people need to know, well, who are you? Then don't be afraid. I love this part. Don't be afraid of being tested and held accountable to the people that you think are ready to take you on for higher responsibilities and challenges. Don't be afraid of that. Know that you can do it. It's just a function of when. And if you go at it hard enough, if you go at it correctly, then you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Your integrity and your reputation should stand up to the challenge and leave. And you should be able to leave with your honor intact. I say again, your integrity and your reputation should stand up to any challenge and leave you with your honor intact, because you've given it your all, your very best. If not, why are you playing? Why are you even in the game? You're not trying to own. You're not trying to run. You're not trying to give it your all, bring your A game. Now, I know this sounds like a lot of motivational hooey to those of you who have been hitting that wall over and over and over and over again. But let me let you think about this. Let me leave you with this thought. If you are going at something, no matter what it is, and you're going at it the same way you've always gone at it, then aren't you going to get the same results? Don't you literally have to get the same results? Isn't that a physical law of the universe? You're going to have to change it up. Take a new approach. Meet some new people. Stretch yourself in a different direction. Don't be afraid. Again, if you're out there, you want to leave a comment, feel free to leave comments in the chat. If you want to, no matter if you're watching this either in recording or you're watching live, leave your comments in the chat. Leave your contact information that you want people to get in contact with you for, your websites, whatever you got going on out there. Again, this is small business friendly. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to promote and support your business ideas, your strategies, even if it's a gig business, a Mary Kay business, a delivery business, whatever you got going on, we want to support you. We want to give you on the stage the opportunity to share your thoughts and your vision with other people. This is Coffee Tea, You and Me. I'm Coach Powell. It's been my pleasure to be with you. Don't forget to sign up for your Leverage Up ticket. That's over there. Talk to you soon, guys.